Welcome back to This Week in Bevy, where Bevy Jam 6 is over and the winners have been announced. If you missed the jam, I have an overview in this video over here in the corner, and a big congratulations to A Fistful of Boomerangs for getting the top slot. Kicking off the PRs this week is 19330, which adds support for interpolation in OKLab and OKLCH color spaces for UI gradients. This is exciting, especially when you consider that gradients defined in other ways typically dip to gray or some weird intermediate value, which is much less of an issue with these other color spaces. And as part of the core widgets effort, as you can see in 19236, a new checkbox was introduced in 19665 and a slider was introduced in 19584. In addition, 19736 implements click to focus for entities with a tab index component. This is a bubbling behavior, which is why it takes advantage of the tab index as well. And the 2D camera shake example got a refactor in 19724 and now includes more explanation to learn from or to copy and paste into your project. And if you've worked with glTF, you might know that glTF uses a Z forward, Y up, negative X right coordinate system, while Bevy uses a negative Z forward, Y up, X right. 19633 adds an option to the glTF loader to perform coordinate conversion. You might want this option if you've experienced glTF imports being rotated unexpectedly previously. And the Observer's Overhaul working group is underway. 19663 provides access to the original target in bubbling event observers. This has been available in the Bevy picking events previously and is now being made more generically available to more events. If you've ever used something like Bevy Inspector eGUI, you'll know that observers, well, show up as a list of observers. In 19611 exposes the observer system names, so tools like Bevy Inspector eGUI can use the names when developing debug tooling. And the names for events have also been split up in 19647 to allow type-level checking of different event usages. This includes event, entity event, and buffered event. First, you would derive your event on your struct to be able to use any global observers which have no entity target. And then if you want the event to be targetable at specific entities, originally derive entity event. For event reader and event writer usage, additionally derive the buffered event. These changes are all rolling up into some nice observer changes for 0.17, so it's very exciting to see this work happen. And of course, Atlas's merge train is a maintainer level view into active PRs and how the Bevy sausage is made, which you can find over on Blue Sky or on Mastodon. And up first in the showcases is this hex strategy game. This is the beginnings of a prototype for a hex strategy game that includes 2D and 3D elements. And continuing the prototyping vibe, this is the author's first 3D Bevy game, which is starting to have some nice elements already. And Quantum Corp is a sci-fi action roguelike set in a fully pixel simulated world that is something like a sand engine. Collect, deposit, and craft and fight your way through dangerous procedural realms, create ever more powerful weapons, survive, and bring proceedings to the company. But be careful, every particle might become your demise. This game is built using Bevy ECS, not the entire Bevy package, as well as WGPU, and scripts their game logic in Lua. Next up, the right-hand side of this demo is the game, while the left-hand side is an editor. Neither is fully developed at the moment, but they are two fully different programs. The editor is sending meshes and colliders to the running game over BRP, that's the Bevy Remote Protocol, and the end goal is to have a Navmesh editor. And next up, we've got a brief look at Bevy Solari progress. This is Raytracing that will land in Bevy 0.17, and this example is using temporal anti-aliasing. Now, if you missed the Bevy Solari talk, check last week's episode, which will tell you how far along this is, which is pretty early, and what you can actually expect out of it. And we've seen this before, but it's got some progress. This is a Hanabi particle editor. That's a GPUI, the GPUI framework from Zed, based particle editor for Hanabi. Next up, we've got a remake of Liar's Bar in Bevy using Spacetime DB as the server. It's a Russian roulette card game where you lie about your cards, similar to the classic card game Bullshit. And that brings us to the crates. This is Bevy Enhanced Input 0.13, which is an input manager for Bevy inspired by Unreal Engine's Enhanced Input. Changes include the pull-based API being strongly typed now, just like triggers, action mocking, which can be found in the repo, and some preparation for upcoming networking integrations. We've also got Bevy Extended UI, which is an extension to Bevy UI offering a selection of widgets and HTML and CSS support. While Bevy Full Asset Path is kind of a micro crate, which is a tiny plugin that allows the reading of the full file system path of an asset loaded from disk. And that brings us to Bevy Northstar 0.2, which is a hierarchical pathfinding and general pathfinding crate, currently targeted at tile map games. We've also got a devlog this week for Elysium Descent. Elysium Descent is an in-progress 3D game with collectibles that uses Yarn Spinner for the dialogue. And of course, if you want to get involved, it's really helpful to go do some PR review. A reminder that you do not need to be part of the Bevy organization to do PR review. You can just report back your experience with new features from those PRs or the examples that you may have run on your machine. And it's a great way to start to get involved with the Bevy project and learn a little bit more about the engine. That's it for this week. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great rest of your week.